Now back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where we have been showing you highlights from last week's testimony in the Machete murder plot trial. Defendant Dakota Van Patten is charged with first-degree murder in the death of Melody Hoffman. Prosecutors say that Van Patten helped a friend kidnap and kill Hoffman last year. Let's go back into the courtroom now and listen to some more key testimony. Up next is Melody Hoffman, the victim's mother.
Just ran up the steps.
It's okay. Take a breath.
Melody Hoffman, Meganhossman.
Thank you. Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
Sorry, nobody wanted you to run. I'm going to start by asking you a few questions about yourself so you can introduce yourself for all of us here. How old are you?
41.
Where do you live?
North Liberty.
How long have you lived in North Liberty?
Since the day of my daughter's death.
Where did you live before that?
Marion.
And so we're talking about since February of 2024, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Where did you live before that?
Before the Marion, or?
Oh, I'm sorry, in Marion. Where did you live? Like, what was the address? I'm sorry about that.
I think it's South 12th Street.
Okay. And that's in Lynn County, right?
Correct.
How long did you live at 1240 South 12th Street?
About 15 months.
While you were at 1240 South 12th Street in Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, who lived with you?
Melody.
And that's Melody Hoffman, right?
Correct.
Ask you a few questions about Melody. What was her date of birth?
12/9/03.
So in February of 2024, how old was she?
19. 20.
Okay. Back in February of 2024, what were you doing for a living?
I work at R&B, mechanical contractor.
You still work there?
I do.
Just tell us what that job involves.
Administrative assistant, answering phones, sending out invoices.
How long have you been working there?
It'll be 9 years on Halloween.
Now you live in North Liberty. Who do you live with?
Melody's father,
Okay. What's his name?
Tyler Hoffman.
So prior to February 17, 2024, were the two of you together as a couple, or are you back together now?
Yes.
So at this time, I'm going to show you an exhibit that's been previously received into evidence here. State's Exhibit 10.1. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 10.1?
Yes.
And who is that?
Melody.
Okay. Approximately when was this picture taken?
I think it's her senior picture. She graduated in 22, so maybe October of 21.
Does this represent a fair and accurate depiction of what Melody still looked like as of February 17th of 2024?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about Melody while this exhibit's up, and then we'll take it down here in a minute. But can you give all of us a general idea of or description of Melody's personality?
Helpful, caring, bubbly. Just really like to help people and to make people feel good.
Was she outgoing?
Very complete stranger. She had no problem going up to.
Still with us, criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully. Joseph, just bringing you in quickly on this because we're approaching the top of the hour. Just getting set up with the mother here, describing her daughter, talking about the lifestyle that they have and where she lives, just some background information, but we're going to get into some more information here. But talk about the setup.
So this is a very good setup by the prosecution. It's going to really get into the emotional impact that the murder had on the mother here. So I think it will be a very impactful witness for the prosecution. Again, the emotional impact isn't really part of the prosecution's case in chief. It can't be, but they're basically going to backdoor in this very impactful testimony through this witness.
Yeah. Joseph, thank you so much. Coming up, more from the victim's mother in the Machete murder plot trial for Dakota Van Patten. We're coming right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Kelly Craft, in today for Ted Rollins, along with Julia Janae.
Good afternoon.
And we are in Iowa for the Machete murder plot trial.
The defendant here is Dakota Van Patten. He's accused of conspiring to kill his friend's ex-girlfriend. This all happened back in February of last year.
And prosecutors say that Van Patten conspired with McKinley Louisma to kidnap and then brutally kill 20-year-old Melody Hoffman.
Now, right now, we're getting you caught up on the unaired testimony in this case. Last week, we were in different cases, so we are rolling out everything that has happened up until we get to live court. So let's pick it up where we left off. We're listening to really impactful testimony. The victim's mother, Melody Hoffman, on the stand.
Was she pretty lively?
Yes.
So she didn't, wasn't really anxious or nervous around strangers?
No.
Can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. I remember walking through the mall with her one day. It was near Christmas time. And this lady was walking with one of her friends or a family member or something, an older lady. And I was thinking to myself, wow, that sweater came from the 80s. Next thing I know, Mel's up talking to the lady, telling her that she liked her sweater. Okay. The lady was very happy, like, as you can imagine, an older lady getting a compliment by a young girl about her sweater. She was pretty over the moon. And we walked away and I go, Melody, did you really like that lady's sweater? She goes, no, but I just wanted to see her smile.
Is that a pretty good description of the type of person she was with other people?
Yeah, a grocery shopping trip would take twice as long if I took her with me.
Okay. All right. We can go ahead and take down the exhibit for now. I'm going to ask some more questions of you about Melody and what was going on in her life at the time. So she's 20 years old. Was she going to school or anything?
No.
Okay. After high school, had she gone to school or
She did.
tried? Okay.
She attempted to go to Kirkwood.
What happened there?
She loved it. She just couldn't academically keep up with the grades.
Did she go there with some kind of purpose in mind about what she wanted to do for a living?
She did. She wanted to be in the medical field.
To do what kind of work?
Anything to help people.
So she didn't continue because of her grades?
Correct.
Was she planning to go back to school or anything along those lines?
She was starting to look into working at like a care center or somewhere where she wouldn't have to have a degree but still be able to help, even if it meant doing laundry. She didn't care.
Like an old folks home or something?
Yeah.
At the time of her death in February of 2024, did she have a job at that time?
She did not.
Was there a reason she didn't have a job?
She was on disability, and it would have been nice to have extra money, but we didn't really need it, and she was willing to go volunteer at like the animal shelter and stuff, and really enjoyed doing that. I thought she was getting appropriate social interactions doing that at the animal shelter, and I encouraged her to do those sorts of things instead of stressing over getting a job.
Does she have a vehicle at all?
No.
Okay. So she didn't drive?
No.
When she did get around, would she use like public transportation and whatnot?
Yeah, she would.
Well, no job, but she was doing some volunteering at the animal shelter?
Yes.
Okay. If you could, Megan, give us an idea of kind of like what a typical day was like for Melody at that period in her life with regards to what you kind of already told us, and then kind of what she did on a regular basis.
So I would get up and leave, get ready and leave and go to work. I'd wake her up when I left. She would go back to sleep and then would message me when she got up. She would get up and, watch a little TV, eat some breakfast or whatever, just kind of do whatever. Depends on if it was a day that she was scheduled to volunteer or not. She would get onto the bus and get to the animal shelter and do her volunteering. Most of the time after that, she would ride the bus back to Colby and Daisy's house, her aunt and uncle's house, and stay there until I could pick her up after work. If she didn't have to work, or go to the animal shelter, she would stay at home and she would clean. I never had to clean our apartment. She was very tidy and made living with her a breeze.
So for personal purposes, can you instruct me on how I can get my kids to clean?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know that I taught it to her.
We can talk about that later. So she sounds like she was a pretty good roommate then, too.
She was the best.
Did she do anything socially at the time? I mean, as far as friends and stuff like that?
Not a whole lot. She would chat with a group of, I think they go way back to middle school, but it might have just been high school kids in like a video chat, where there's like 6 or 8 people all on one conference call, and they just, nothing important. They just chatted, and lots of her friends had gone off to college. Other ones just lived too far away. She didn't have a vehicle, and so that was their way of staying in contact and connecting with each other. She didn't really go anywhere without me. I mean, we tried to go do things, go to concerts and movies, and she would go over to my mom's house. My mom at the time had some serious hip issues going on. My stepdad has a very bad back, so she would go help them very regularly.
Okay. So that stage of life there when, kids kind of come to adulthood, ages 19, 20 or so. So a lot of those friends from high school were kind of going on with their life while Melody was still living at home, but she would stay in contact with them.
Yeah.
So did she get to see him very often?
No.
You mentioned earlier that Melody was on disability.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about the disability that she was diagnosed with?
She was diagnosed with a mild intellectual disability.
Tell us what that means.
It would be like if, instead of talking to a 20-year-old, if you were talking to like a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old, they know what you're talking about, but sometimes you have to put it into a little bit simpler format. You might have to explain stuff just a little bit more. She she did eventually. It took a lot of practice and stuff, but she was able to get her license and be able to pass those kinds of tests and stuff. It just took more than what you would think it would take a 20-year-old to do.
So even though she was in the body of a 20-year-old, a lot of times it was like interacting with somebody who was still like in early teenage years. Is that right?
Yeah.
Would you have to oftentimes put things in more simpler terms for her to understand than you would for an adult?
Yes. And she wasn't afraid to ask me, like, what do they mean?
So I've found sometimes I've had a 14-year-old, I have a soon-to-be 14-year-old, you have to be kind of literal with the way you talk to them. Is that what it is with Mel?
Yeah.
Did that mild intellectual disability that she had, did that prevent her from being able to hold certain jobs?
Yeah.
In what way?
I just don't think some employers would be as willing to explain stuff in such detail that she would be able to grasp it. It would just be tough for her.
Some jobs that can be pretty fast-paced, and employers don't have the time for that.
Right.
Because of Melody's disability, did she also, based on your observations, sometimes have difficulty understanding social situations and relationships compared to other people her age?
Yeah, she did.
Do you have any kind of an example of that at all? Could you talk generally about that?
I don't know if I have a specific example, but I just remember sometimes in high school she would, kids would dare her to do stuff, and she didn't really know that it was a dare, and then she would have to face the consequences of whatever it was, and then she would be upset that she thought her friends just wanted to hang out with her, wanted to do whatever this thing was with her, and it ended up her getting into trouble.
So, for the record here, when you said friend, you kind of did the quotes thing.
Correct.
Are there situations where she's telling you things and you realize that maybe these people weren't acting as friends?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have to tell her about that?
I did.
Is that something when you told her that she kind of, a light would go off and she would sort of figure it out?
Yeah. After we would have a discussion.
Would you describe Melody as a trusting person?
Overly.
Okay, why would you describe her as an overly trusting person?
She had no fear. She would trust anything that anybody said to her.
Not only would she trust anything that anybody said to her, but would she have like a general propensity to trust people? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
So did she have a general kind of sense of giving people the benefit of the doubt?
Yes.
In her life at that time, based upon the people around her, did she, to your knowledge, did she have a reason not to?
No.
Was she also the type of person who would maybe put some immediate trust, like even in a stranger?
Yeah.
Is that something you noticed her doing?
Yeah.
And was that something that was part of her personality then up to and including when she was 20 years old and when she died?
Yes.
Learning a lot about the victim in this case from the victim's mother. Coming up, victim Melody Hoffman's mom testifies to her daughter's cell phone habits and says she used a tracking app for her daughter. That testimony is coming up next.
8.5 months pregnant, a young mother found brutally murdered.
To lose a child, there's no words for it.
Now the victim's boyfriend, a married father of 4.
Guilty of first-degree murder in the death of his mistress as well as their unborn child.
That's one of the things that struck me. He was not remorseful.
Court TV takes you inside the South Florida courtroom
Where jurors will decide if he will be put put to death.
The Pregnant Mistress Murder Trial Penalty Phase begins Wednesday morning, only on Court TV.
Let's get you back inside of this Iowa courtroom where we are watching together this case that can't be described as anything more than senseless in terms of how it happened. This man is on trial for allegedly helping his friend to kill his ex-girlfriend.
Dakota Van Patten is his name, and he's charged with first-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping in the death of 20-year-old Melody Hoffman.
Yeah, we just learned from her mother that she had a mild intellectual disability. Prosecutors say that Van Patten conspired with Hoffman's ex-boyfriend McKinley Louisma to kidnap her, and then they allegedly stabbed her with a machete and then dumped her body in a nearby pond.
Let's get you back now into the courtroom. We are hearing from the victim's mother.
Did Melody have a cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. So, for example, did she have a passcode for that cell phone?
Yes.
Did you know what it was?
I did.
What was it?
The birthday of her late sister.
Was Melody the type of person that would, for example, may give somebody her passcode if she believed she trusted them?
No.
She wouldn't?
I don't know that she would willingly hand it over. She protected that phone with all of her might.
When Melody was in social situations, based on your observations of her around that time, did she sometimes, was she more susceptible to suggestion and things that maybe not in her best interest?
Yes.
Did that happen throughout the course of like her adolescence and teenage years too? Did you see that happening up to and including when she was 20 years old?
Yeah.
So you talked about her cell phone, how she was kind of guarded about it. As your mom, her roommate, even at Melody's age, were you still trying to do your best to look out for her?
I was.
And at that period in her life, would you say that you believe the two of you had a pretty open line of communication?
Yes.
Even with that being said, do you hold out the possibility that as a 14 or 15-year-old knew that maybe there were some things she didn't tell you?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happens, right? Did you also know Melody at times to sometimes be more suggestible or susceptible to things that may actually endanger her own safety?
Yeah.
What did you do as a mother to try to protect her from those situations?
Tried to make her aware of the situation and what the potential outcome would be. Even if I had to try without an example. I remember one time she was cutting potatoes and, she was singing along to a song. And I said, okay, stop. This is not the time to sing along to a song while you're chopping potatoes. You're gonna cut your finger. And so, and that goes more than just at home cooking, that all over social interactions and stuff. If there was a situation that I would stop and say, do you really want to do that?
Would she, at that stage in life, leave the house for periods of time where you weren't with her with other folks?
She would.
When that happened, would that be cause for you to be concerned that she might be putting herself in those situations and you're not there to look out for her?
Yeah.
Did you kind of consider yourself her protector?
Yeah.
Along those lines, was there something that you did from a like a technological perspective to keep tabs on her? You know, we all know we can sort of watch our kids nowadays. What did you do?
We had Life 360 on our phones.
Did she have also, to your knowledge, like emergency contacts in her phone?
She did.
And were you emergency contact?
I was.
Okay. And how does that work then, as far as your knowledge about how, if you're an emergency contact in someone's phone, how you would be alerted to like a danger?
I didn't know much about it. I knew a little bit about it, but I didn't even, I guess I assumed that I was an emergency contact in her phone. I didn't know that she had others as well. I didn't know that that was an option. But basically, if you're, and again, I'm not an Apple user and she was, so it might be different for Android or Samsung users. But if the phone detects a high impact, it will set off an alarm and you can make it stop. Or if it continues, it will alert your emergency contacts and it will call the police.
Let's talk a little bit about the Life 360 for those of us that might not be familiar with it. So with your Life 360, did you have the ability to track her location and her movements?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
On Life 360, you set up an account, you look like a little bubble on a map, you put your picture in there, whatever you want. And then you can basically watch live as somebody's moving. It can tell you how fast they're going, like if they're in a car. Some of the features allow you to set up an alert if they go too fast. You know, if they hit 80 mile an hour, you'll get an alert on your phone or whatever you have set up. I didn't have any of those things. Those extra features set up, but you could definitely watch as a person travel down the road.
Did you have any kind of system worked out in the Life 360 Act that would like alert you when Melody would be leaving certain areas?
Yeah, you can set up things called places, which creates a circle around the place. So for instance, we had one set up around our house and the circle was the diameter around the house and you could select how big or small you wanted it to be. And I think we had it the smallest that it would go, so it was pretty precise when leaving our residence or coming to the residence.
Let's go ahead and bring in our guest for this hour to discuss. Joining us now from San Francisco, California, criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully. Joseph, thanks so much for sticking around with us as we continue to watch some of the unaired testimony in this case, hearing from the mother here, getting into some more details, especially that tracking evidence, talking about how she could tell where her daughter was, and surveillance video, digital evidence, so important in this case. As a defense counsel, how do you really overcome it? Because we have that digital evidence placing the defendant at the scene of where the victim's body was found.
Sure. So we heard in the defense opening statement their defense, which was presence alone is not enough. That's a legal maximum that is very, very old, and it holds true that just being around somebody who does a crime doesn't make you guilty of it. Again, here the tracking evidence will point to the fact that both of these men, the one who was already convicted, Louisma, and Mr. Van Patten, were with the victim the night of the murder. So what we're seeing here is that digital evidence is coming more into the forefront of criminal defense, criminal investigation, and in a trial. Through the mother here, we're basically able to track everything that happened to her daughter that night, where she went and who she was with.
Oh yeah, her testimony, you can just tell she's testifying very well, but just the pain in her eyes from losing her best friend. Let's talk about motive in this case, because they may have the digital evidence, but the defense says they don't really have a motive here. How far do you think that will get them? We've got this very senseless case, senseless crime. You already have someone who's admitted to doing it and implicated that he had someone else who was helping him at the time, or maybe pointing the finger at him. We'll see. But what do you think about the defense using that as an argument, that he had no beef essentially with the victim?
Sure. So again, I think we're seeing the defense be kind of desperate here. And you're setting yourself up for failure if that's your main argument as a defendant, and for the reason that motive is not required for the prosecution to prove. So we've all heard on TV and seen it in movies, motive, opportunity. However, when you get to closing argument, if that's been the main thrust of the defense throughout the trial, the prosecution can literally say to the jury, ladies and gentlemen, look on the board. You heard the law that the judge read to you. Motive is not required for us to prove. And they can absolutely blow that defense out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, a prosecutor could stand up there and say, who knows? Who cares what the reason was? They did it. So, yeah, interesting point, Joseph. But it does always help to kind of have a story to say, he didn't do it. There was no reason for him. So that's helpful for defense if they can establish it somehow and a juror buys it.
We'll see how it unfolds. We're all watching it together. Joseph, stand by. When we come back, we're going to listen to more of Melody Hoffman's mom testifying about that relationship, the really important one, the one that does get us a bit to motive in this case, even if not to the defendant, her then boyfriend, McKinley Louisma, who's already been convicted. That testimony next.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Kelly Craft in for Ted Rollins, along with Julia Jade.
That's right, and we are in Iowa this hour, catching you up on testimony that you may have missed last week. This is in the Machete murder plot trial for Dakota Van Patten. He's charged with first-degree murder in the death of 20-year-old Melody Hoffman, but we know her mother on the stand said, even though she had the body of an adult, that she really was like a 13 or 14-year-old child.
Yeah, at the time of her death, she was dating McKinley Louisma, who was friends with the defendant in this case, Van Patten. Louisma admitted to investigators that he did kidnap Hoffman with the help of Van Patten and physically beat her. He is already convicted and serving a life sentence.
And we're about to hear more about him inside of the courtroom. Let's pick it up where we left off. We still have testimony from the mother of this victim, Megan.
So if that's set up as a circle in Life 360 or some sort of zone there, what happens on the Life 360 app and when someone that you're tracking like Melody leaves that circle, what kind of notice do you get of that?
We had it set up where we would both get alerts if either of us came or left the zone.
So for instance, if you were at work during the day, you get an alert when Melody comes home.
Yes.
Or the other way around, if Melody leaves home, you get an alert. And in those situations, let's say where Melody leaves home and you don't know where she's going, what would you do?
Send her a message.
Yeah. Well, as a mom, you want to figure out, hey, where are you going?
Right. Not that I was trying to be nosy, I just wanted to make sure that she was making smart choices.
Yeah, you're not a helicopter parent or anything, right?
That may have been said before.
Okay. You don't have to answer, that's fine. So you had a circle around your home back in February. Did you also have cameras?
I did.
Okay, what kind of cameras did you have?
We had a Blink camera in the living room.
Why in the living room?
Because it wasn't a private room. It just could see the majority of our apartment. Could see if anybody was breaking in, or we could see both of our doors. We had like a balcony and a sliding door, and then we had the main door that we would enter in, and it could see both of those.
There's probably some Blink camera users in the room, but for those of us that don't understand how that works, do you have an app on your phone that you can
Yes.
access some of the Blink camera footage?
Yes.
And does that include, watching something live or obtaining past footage?
Yes.
Shifting gears just a little bit here, I want to talk to you about what you knew about Melody's friendships back in February 2024. You said a little bit about the people that she kept in contact with. Who did you know that she would kind of hang around with socially back then?
McKinley Louisma.
We'll get to Mr. Louisma here in a second. I want to ask you a little bit more about that. But we asked you a little bit ago about the passcode being Melody's sister. It's birthday, right? Yeah, what is that?
5917.
Who was McKinley Louisma to Mel?
An ex-boyfriend.
I'm going to ask you about your relationship with him and kind of how things went with that. But before I do that, before McKinley and Louisma came into the picture, to your knowledge, did Mel have any other boyfriends?
Not any other serious ones.
So would you characterize Mr. Louisma as your first kind of serious relationship, serious boy?
Yes.
Before she started seeing Mr. Louisma, what did you know about her kind of dating life? Anything?
She was on a couple dating apps, and she'd be like, "Mom, look at this boy, he's cute."
Yeah, so to your knowledge, she was talking with men off and on online, young men?
I don't even know that she was talking to a whole lot. Maybe one here or there, but she was swiping.
Gotcha. All right. Is that how she met Mr. Louisma?
I do believe so.
Okay. Does she have social media accounts?
She does.
Okay. And so like most young people her age, did she have multiple social media accounts?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of social media accounts did she have, to your knowledge?
Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
So it's sort of like the standard social media accounts young folks have?
Yes.
Can you tell us approximately when, on your recollection, that Melody and Mr. Louisma met?
I want to say it was like the middle of October of 2023.
Middle of October 2023. Was that, did you meet him shortly thereafter?
Yeah.
About how long after she started talking to Mr. Louisma do you think you met him?
A day or two. Wasn't very long at all.
Was that at your residence?
Yes.
Okay. So she just starts talking to him and you're meeting him like right off the bat?
She might have talked to him before they met, but I met him shortly after they met.
And taking a moment here to direct you to the person who's been identified as Dakota Van Patten, the defendant in this case. Do you see Mr. Van Patten over here?
Yes.
Did you know him on February 17th, 2024?
No.
Was there a time when the relationship between Melody and Mr. Louisma got to the point where he would actually like stay overnight at your house?
Yes.
Would he stay overnight?
Yes.
Right. And is that something you were okay with, obviously?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of impressions did you have of Mr. Louisma when you first met him?
He was polite, helpful. When he did stay, he would go to the laundromat with us to do laundry. He would help carry it up. He would help Melody make supper before I got home.
Coming up, victim Melody Hoffman's mother is going to be testifying about her daughter's increasingly rocky relationship with her boyfriend and now convicted killer, McKinley Louisma. That testimony is coming up next.
My two best friends were just murdered.
Join me for a Court TV true crime series where we take you from the crime scene to the courtroom.
Donna Adelson hates every piece of grass that Dan Marcel ever walked on.
It's something that'll haunt all of us forever.
It always seemed like he was covering or deceiving.
This was a whole different level.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands, a Court TV original series. Season premieres September 27th.
Only on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live, where we are following this trial where a man is accused of helping his friend commit murder of a woman who was 20 years old, whose mother says she had an intellectual disability. This is the Machete murder plot trial.
The defendant in this case, Dakota Van Patten, and he is charged with first-degree murder in the death of Melody Hoffman. Prosecutors say that Van Patten helped a friend kidnap and kill Hoffman. This was just last year.
And picking up testimony where we're listening together to the victim's mother, Megan, she has been describing this relationship between Louisma McKinley, who is already convicted of this case. He's the friend who's not there inside of the courtroom because he's been convicted. But let's listen to what she has to say about their escalating relationship.
Okay. So, seem like a nice guy?
Yeah.
Okay. How did their relationship proceed then from the beginning or about the middle of October over the next couple of months?
It seemed very good and positive and like a decent relationship. No issues, no red flags that I could think of.
When did he start staying overnight? Was it pretty quick into the relationship?
It was probably in I would want to say November, December, and I can't recall for sure off the top of my head, but that's pretty quick.
Did that seem pretty quick to you? Seemed like they were moving kind of fast? Did it seem like they were moving kind of fast?
Yes.
All right. But did it appear to you that Mel was happy?
Yes.
Would you say that you got along with them?
Yes.
Now, when I ask you what you knew about Mr. Louisma's family, did you know whether he had family in town?
I knew a family in town that lived over on the south, somewhere on the south side. I don't know if it's southeast, somewhere on the south side.
And would Melody ever go over to their house and stay overnight over there?
I do believe she stayed over there once. But she, I think, would go over with him occasionally.
Okay. Did you have the type of relationship with Melody where, let's say she was going to go and spend the night at her boyfriend's house, Mr. Louisma, that she would tell you that?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did Melody ever buy any things for Mr. Louisma?
She had money, but she didn't have access to all of her money because she wouldn't make smart choices with it. So when she needed something, she'd be like, "Mom, can I get $20 and we can go to Wendy's or something?" Mm-hmm. So I know she was buying him small things, but it was always like food or money to go to Casey's or she would have me buy him like they wanted these bracelets, and one was black, one was white, one had a king's crown on it, one had a queen's crown on it, type of thing. I got it for her off Amazon. It was like $20 or something.
Some kind of promise bracelet or something?
Yeah.
Anything else you're aware of that she'd buy for him?
Not really.
Okay. So it seems like things are going pretty good then, from October into November, in through the holidays, right?
It got rocky near her birthday.
Okay. And your birthday's in November, is that right?
December 9th.
Oh, December. Okay. All right. So, in what way?
He would start like saying I'm on my way, and it was on speakerphone. She, for whatever reason, always had phone conversations on speakerphone, so I would hear it, and he'd be like, oh, I'm on my way, I'll be there in 20 minutes. 2 hours later, he still wouldn't be there.
How often was that happening?
More and more frequently.
And when that started happening, that he would basically ghost her, did you talk to her about that?
I did.
What kind of things you guys talk about?
I told her that I have the impression that he's just playing some kind of games. You don't need to make his problems your problems. He has enough going on, and you have stuff going on that maybe you guys can take a little time apart. You could still be friends. Just give yourselves a little space.
Yeah, at first, was she pretty resistant to that?
At first she was.
Ultimately, did those, words of wisdom kind of set in a little bit with her?
They did.
Okay. Did you know anything else that was going on in his life at the time?
I knew that he was potentially the father of Nikita's baby.
Was that something that Melody was aware of too?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And did that kind of lead you to believe that maybe some of that attention that he was giving to her was being diverted back to Nikia? I mean,
it crossed my mind.
Okay. All right. So we're into December now, approaching sort of like the end of December of 2023. Did Mel and Mr. Louisma break up?
She broke up with him.
She broke up with him?
Yes.
Do you remember like what day sort of the relationship kind of came to an end? Or a day that sticks out?
I know that January 7th we had arranged for him to come get his stuff and for her to get her stuff back from him.
Okay. Up to that point in time on January 7th, when you started making the arrangements to exchange things, based on your observations, did the breakup appear to be amicable?
Yes.
Okay. When you got closer to the exchange of property, was there some tension that started to develop?
There was.
What kind of tension?
I would say that it was typical, like, teenage actions. You break up with your boyfriend, I'm going to throw all your stuff away. No, I'm going to throw all your stuff away. It was just little, like, they both had high emotions. And
was there kind of banter about, you don't get this stuff, or I'm going to throw this away, and stuff like that? Yeah. Did it start to get a little more childish?
Yeah.
Oh, what a hard situation this must be for this mother to have to relive this. Signs that may have been there. It seems like there really was nothing of a red flag with McKinley Louisma. He was staying inside of their house. It seemed friendly, but she seemed to know that maybe he's not a great guy for you.
Yeah, and they talked about breaking up. So really from the mother on the direct examination, you're just hearing about, the background, how the two met and what their relationship was. But why don't we go ahead and bring in our guest? Because, Joseph, my question to you is, from a defense's standpoint, we're going to see, I would assume, the same thing we saw with Louisma's ex-girlfriend on the stand when defense counsel got up and said, well, this love triangle you were involved with had nothing to do with my client. And now we have the mother on the stand, and we're hearing so much about Louisma, not the defendant in this case.
Sure. So again, the prosecution works with whatever they have with that witness. What they can get from her is emotional, impactful testimony about the victim here, and they can bring in lots of inculpatory evidence about Louisma. And then later on, the prosecution will link Louisma to Van Patten and kind of transfer that sentiment of all the inculpatory evidence, the evidence that makes, that proves guilt, will later be transferred to Van Patten. So, the prosecution doesn't have a lot of evidence that they can use from this witness against Van Patten, but that will be linked on later on.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Thanks so much, Joseph Tully, for joining us this hour. Now, coming up, we're going to have more from victim Melody Hoffman's mother, who's going to testify about her increasingly rocky relationship with McKinley Louisma. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae, along with Kelly Craft, who is here for us for Ted Rollins. We are in Iowa together this afternoon for the Machete murder plot trial.
Dakota Van Patten is accused of conspiring with his friend McKinley Louisma to kidnap and kill Louisma's ex-girlfriend. Her name, Melody Hoffman.
Yeah, Melody Hoffman, according to her mother, had an intellectual disability that made her seem more like a 14-year-old than a 20-year-old. And prosecutors say 2 men purchased gloves and 2 machetes from a local Walmart before they kidnapped her, brutally beat her, and strangled her to death.
McKinley Louisma has already been convicted of the murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. That was last year.
But it's his friend, Dakota Van Patten, who is on trial now. Let's get you back into the courtroom. We're listening to more of the victim's mother, Megan, testifying about her daughter's relationship with the now convicted Louisma McKinley.
Okay, Megan, do you see State's Exhibit 10.17.1?
I do.
And what is this, based on your recollection of this exhibit?
It was my conversation with McKinley.
Was this on or around that January 7th day when they were breaking up?
They had broke up, but they were trying to get their stuff back from each other.
All right, and just in order to go through this here, would you be willing to read for the jury what you said, and I'll just read what Mr. Louisma said?
Yes.
Okay, so it starts with Mr. Louisma saying, "and okay."
Do you have her jacket still?
No, she has that. You don't need to pay anything. That's fine. That can be replaced. Well, you all have a good night.
You too. If you ever need advice, you can always send me a message on here. I would be happy to help. Take care.
And then before we continue there, just to put that in context, he mentioned you don't have to pay for anything. Is that in reference to some of the squabbles they were having about?
Yeah.
Was Mr. Louisma of some kind of belief that maybe he was owed money?
Yeah.
Right. It sounds like he may have said to you not to worry about that, at least at that time.
I told him to tell me how much he owed and what it was for, and I would pay him back, and he said, don't worry about it.
Okay. Now, starting on January 7th at 1:32 p.m., can you read what you said at that time?
I have your stuff ready.
And then later that day at 4:09 p.m., okay, thank you. Am allowed to come to get them right now?
Yeah, I'm here. Please bring Mel's charger with you. Let me know when you get here, and I'll bring it down.
And now we're on January 7th at 4:35 p.m. Mr. Louisma says, "I'm here."
Okay.
So we're going to pause here for now and come back to this exhibit, because the next conversation that you all have is on February 18th, 2024. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so we can go ahead and put this down for now. We'll get another exhibit up here in a second. So on January 7th, 2024, did Mr. Louisma come over and then pick up some property that you had arranged for him to pick up?
He did.
And based upon your presence there at that time, was there anything that happened that would have resulted in a conflict or anything?
No, they didn't see each other.
But like we said, there have been some previous back and forth, right?
Yeah.
On or about this January 7th, 2024 day, to your knowledge, after that, was Melody spending any kind of substantial time with anybody else?
No.
Did she have any other boyfriends?
No.
Okay. Any enemies that you know of?
No.
On or about that day when Mr. Louisma and Melody had been broken up and there was this arrangement to come pick up property and whatnot, do you recall that Melody also received a concerning text message?
Yes.
And at that time, were you able to determine who the text message was from?
No.
Did he have a number that you recognized at all? And did that text message include what could have been or appeared to maybe be a specific reference to Melody?
Yes.
To your knowledge, was Melody's phone number generally available to the public or anybody who doesn't know her?
No.
I want to show you then what's been marked and previously introduced into evidence in State's Exhibit number 10.13.
Publishing now.
Thank you, Your Honor. You recognize State's Exhibit 10.13?
I do.
Does this contain the text message that Melody received on or about January 7th of 2024, the time indicated here about approximately 8:27 p.m.?
It does.
And was this sent directly to her cell phone number?
It was sent, I do believe, to her cell phone number, but she had it linked to her iPad, and that's where I was seeing it.
Okay, so this came in through her phone number as a text, but you saw it on her iPad?
Apple, yeah, her Apple.
For the record here, can you read this message?
Just know that you're a dead girl. Don't worry. When you least expect it, we're gonna get you, and call the cops if you want. They're not gonna protect you all the time. You're a ass bitch. I hate you, and I hope you and your family ain't safe. On GD, we finna make it red and paint your whole house red.
Megan, when you received this text message, did you report it to the Marion Police Department?
I did.
Okay. And based upon that report, to your knowledge, did it result in any kind of identification of who sent this?
No.
And have you heard it, has anybody been charged with sending this?
No.
But this was received on that January 7th, 2024 date?
Yes.
Did you ever figure out where this message came from?
The Text Now app.
Was there anybody other than Mr. Louisma in Melody's life that you believe could have sent this?
No.
For those of us that don't know, what's a Text Now app?
It's an app that you can use to send a text message. I don't know if you can make phone calls or anything, but you can send a text message from a generic number. I don't know if you can send them anonymously. I've never used the app, but there's no traceable data. You know, you don't have an account or anything that has your name tied to a specific number.
We've established this was sent on January 7th, 2024. Was that after the exchange of property?
It was.
And when Mr. Louisma was there to exchange the property, were you there?
I was.
And did you see anybody with Mr. Louisma that day?
I did.
Okay. Would you be able to describe generally the person you saw with him?
I would say he was a taller white male. I really only got like a torso and an arm image of him. I seen his hand. He had a red hoodie on. But from my angle, I was not able to see a face or stuff because our yard kind of went up and I stood up on top of where the yard was and the car was down lower.
So from your angle, you were at least able to identify this was a taller white male?
Yeah, he had a long arm and a white hand.
Did you recognize that person at all?
No.
What emotional impact, if any, did this have on Melody?
It was substantial.
Was she pretty afraid by it?
She was.
After January 7th of 2024, to your knowledge, did Melody end up having contact with Mr. Louisma again?
Sometime later. I don't know the exact date, but it was later on after several weeks had passed.
So after a few weeks, to your knowledge, they didn't have contact within a few weeks, but then you figured out that maybe she was seeing him again?
She had asked me if he could come over, that they had started talking, and she wanted him to, they mutually wanted to see each other.
Could you tell from those conversations that Melody may perhaps want to reignite the relationship with Mr. Louisma?
Yeah.
Were you present at any time when Mr. Louisma actually made contact with Melody?
No.
Do you recall a time, this is again after that several week period after January 7th of 2024, being present when the two of them were talking on the phone?
Not specifically, but I do remember.
Well, specifically, if you can remember, to your recollection, did she have some contact with him on what would have been Friday, February 16th?
She did.
Okay. Tell us about that.
It was later in the evening, and I was out in the living room. I don't know, I was watching TV, playing on my phone, watching TikTok, something. And she goes, "Mom, come in here and watch me." And I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything else. And she wanted me to come watch her play Fortnite. Okay. So I was laying on her bed with her, watching her play Fortnite. And he had called and said, "Hey, why don't you come over and have a sleepover with me?" And I was being the mom, and I was like, no, like I wasn't talking because it was on speakerphone, but I was like, and he had mentioned, she asked, you know, who's all going to be there, and he's like, me and my cousins, maybe an aunt that was downstairs and wouldn't interfere with their evening. That his parents had gone to stay in a hotel.
Why were you concerned about her having contact with Mr. Louisma again?
Because I still had the uneasy feeling from the text message.
Yeah, well, that's definitely understandable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh, we're going to squeeze in a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We're going to have more of this case when we come back. You're watching Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, Karen Reed now facing a wrongful death lawsuit by the family of John O'Keefe. What we learned from today's hearing as the civil case moves closer.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
A young mother found brutally murdered.
Now the victim's boyfriend, a married father of 4.
Guilty in the death of his mistress as well as their unborn child.
The pregnant mistress murder trial penalty phase. Wednesday morning, only on Court TV.
Last Caesar.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Thank you for being with us as we watch together this trial in Iowa, one that the prosecution says is evidence of depravity. We're calling it the Machete murder plot trial.
Dakota Van Patten is charged with first-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping in the death of 20-year-old Melody Hoffman.
Prosecutors say that Van Patten conspired with Hoffman's ex-boyfriend, McKinley Louisma, we're hearing a lot about him inside of the courtroom, to kidnap Hoffman, where they then allegedly began to stab her with a machete and then dumped her body in a nearby pond.
Why don't we go ahead and pick it up right where we left off? This is more of the direct examination of victim Melody Hoffman's mom.
Did she end up going to see him that night?
No.
Let's go into Saturday, February 17th. And I just want you to take us through kind of the events of that day, okay? All right. What happened generally that day after you got up, had breakfast, those type of things?
So we got ready, had breakfast. We were going grocery shopping. We had gone to Sam's and Aldi, stopped at Starbucks, just had an overall good shopping day, just the two of us.
Is that her favorite place, Starbucks?
Absolute favorite.
When you got back home, what'd you all do?
Put groceries away, just lounged around for a while, made supper. Lounged around for a little longer, maybe watched some shows or something, I'm not sure, don't remember exactly. And then at some point, I was like, Mel, why don't you come lay in my room and watch a movie in here? The couch isn't comfortable for both of us to sit on for a long period of time. And so she got up, her hip was bothering her, so I helped her up. And she didn't need a whole lot of help, she was just being dramatic. And I helped her up and we went in and laid on the bed and watched the movie.
And after you had supper, laid down, watched a movie, those type of things, about what time do you think the movie ended?
A little after 15, 11, it was right in that area.
Sounds like it was kind of a relaxing night.
It was.
Did you feel at that point in time like, night's over, day's over?
Yeah, we had made plans to go to my grandma's house, her great-grandma's house the next morning, so.
Okay. You and Mel talked about doing that?
Yep.
After the movie was over then, what did you do next?
Shut the TV off, watched a few TikTok videos, was getting ready to fall asleep.
What did Mel do?
She left.
How were you made aware that she left the residence?
I got the Life 360 alert.
So that circle we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Were you able to determine what time she left the residence?
11:27 p.m.
Your Honor, we'd like to present State's Exhibit 10.15, previously introduced into evidence.
Publishing 10.15.
Megan, do you see State's Exhibit 10.15?
I do.
What does this depict?
Melody walking through the living room of our home.
And is that the camera that's in your living room from the Blink app?
It is. It's a screenshot of a video. That's why it looks kind of blurry.
What's Castle de la Hoffman?
That's what we named our apartment.
Was that her idea?
I think it was mutual.
Okay. So does this indicate that there's some motion going on in the living room here around 11:24 p.m.?
Yep.
Did the Blink camera system also capture a video of this?
Yes.
And was that a video that you were able to access through your app and then turn over to the police department?
Yes.
Your Honor, we might need a screen clear for this really quick, but we're going to ask permission to publish State's Exhibit 10.16. Okay, didn't take that long, right?
I'll let you now.
So on this video, Megan, did we see something in Melody's hand?
Yes.
And based upon your interaction with her, living with her, and then watching this video, what was that was in her hand?
Her phone.
And based upon those same things of what's on the video, living with her, watching this, what does that flashing indicate?
Somebody's contacting her.
So Melody's phone would flash like that when she'd be getting a message or
Yes.
a call? I'm going to jump forward just a little bit here. We can take this down for the time being, Judge. Thanks. For the purpose of asking a question or two, did you ultimately recover her phone?
I did.
And when you ultimately recovered her phone, did you look at it?
I did.
Because you know her passcode, were you able to get in there and try to find some messages?
I did. I attempted to.
Were you able to find any kind of indication of incoming phone calls or text messages?
No.
So even though we saw this flashing and whatnot, you weren't able to find any evidence of like who had contacted her at that time?
Correct. It had been removed.
Can you say that again?
It had been removed.
Okay. What was Melody wearing when you last saw her?
Black leggings, Hey Dude shoes that were a peach color, a t-shirt material long sleeve shirt that was also peach with pastel Iowa Hawkeye logo stuff on the back of it.
How was her hair that night?
Straight.
So no ponytail or anything like that?
Throughout the day when she was with me, it was straight down. I don't recall. Sometimes she would flip it up in a ponytail for a little bit and then take it out.
So you said black leggings, but this video maybe didn't look like that. Do you kind of know why that might be?
I think the night vision of the camera made it askew, and you can't really tell, but Mel always wore black leggings.
So the blink camera doesn't necessarily capture the right kind of colors or
I don't know if it
hues.
I don't know if it was the material that, if it was too shiny or if it was too black, or the camera just didn't catch it very well.
So you got the notification from Life 360 and that she left that circle, and then we just saw her on this blank camera footage here. And you told us that, it had been a pretty good night, right?
Yeah.
And you're in bed and getting ready to go to sleep.
Correct.
So what are you thinking to yourself when you get that notification?
Are you kidding me?
And did you reach out to her?
I did.
Okay. You thought you were done for the night, and here she is looking.
I did.
Let's go ahead and bring in our guest this hour to discuss. Joining us now from East Lansing, Michigan, trial attorney Jamie White. Hi there, Jamie. Thanks for sticking around and watching this case and joining us today on this Monday. So we're watching this real gruesome case out of Iowa. We're listening to the mom testify, and she's providing a lot of evidence here and provided investigators with a lot of key evidence to kind of track her daughter's last movements. We were just seeing that surveillance video of her daughter leaving the home.
Yeah, the prosecutor's doing a masterful job at telling a story in this case and linking the different time frames together. First he started with the purchase of what presumably were the weapons and gloves to execute this crime, allegedly. And, he's moving forward, down the path to ultimately some forensic evidence explaining what her demise was. Using the mom in this case has been really effective. Mom is very likable. Sometimes members of families and people that are close to a case can sometimes be argumentative. We may see some of that on direct cross-examination, but so far she's very likable in the sense that she's telling the truth. She's understandable, and it doesn't appear to be biased, at least in her testimony. She appears to just be telling what she knew and how she came to that information.
Yeah, even when she's describing the man who's already been convicted of killing her daughter, she's describing that she liked him at first, that he was polite. She's showing a lot of strength, Jamie. You mentioned, though, the story that prosecutors are telling, and they certainly have the story that involves this boyfriend who lured his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend out of her home, and then this terrible thing happens. But we've got a defendant who's sitting here in the courtroom who's claiming he didn't have a motive. Just because he was there doesn't mean he participated. Do you think the depravity of this crime, one that just makes you wonder how in the world someone would have even come up with doing something like this, does that in some way help the defense?
Well, the depravity, I don't think helps the defense, but I do think that you make a good point. Mr. Van Patten is not necessarily charged or being accused of actually doing the act. So it's an aiding and abetting theory, and it doesn't take much to be an aider and abetter or part of a conspiracy. There needs to be some furtive action in some part. And, I think we're going to hear more from the prosecutor about his involvement. We've already seen him in the process of purchasing the weapons with Mr. Louisma.
No, absolutely. More evidence is going to be coming out to prove what they have against him.